What did he tell the 911 operator?
That his wife was motionless and he was doing CPR and needed medical assistance.
I'm trying to do CPR. I can't.
Okay, listen to me.
Police believe that there was more to this story than what they had been told initially.
This woman very likely had been murdered.
As a detective, you're always looking for the reason why something occurred, a motive.
What did finding that evidence mean to the investigation?
It was the smoking gun. It was an exciting moment because I felt like we had him.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's Crime Exposé takes us to Orlando, Florida, and an upscale neighborhood known as Delaney Park. The family-friendly community was rocked to its core when a woman named Shanti Tronnes was discovered dead by her husband. The case took investigators through a series of twists and turns that ultimately led to a chilling conclusion. It was late in the afternoon on Tuesday, April 24th, when Orlando police received a hysterical phone call from a man named David Tronnes.
Hello?
She stopped breathing. I'm trying to do CPR. I can't.
Okay, listen to me.
David told the operator he had discovered his wife Shanti unconscious and partially submerged in the bathtub of their garage apartment. He was still on the phone with 911 when first responders arrived.
Okay, and who is this?
This is dead, John.
As emergency crews approached 39-year-old Shanti, it was clear she was already gone. And to one of the officers on the scene, it was also clear that this was no accident.
She appeared to have significant facial trauma and a variety of injuries to her arms and knees, which indicated to him this woman very likely had been murdered.
Homicide detective Teresa Sprague and her partner were assigned the case. They wanted to interview David Tronnes, but first needed to view the scene for themselves.
When we actually arrived at the home, Mr. Tronnes had already voluntarily, with an officer, came to the station and was waiting for us in an interview room.
Just have a seat there. It'll be a little bit.
Not sure whether or not David was involved in Shanti's death, the detective had her colleagues begin to collect evidence from him.
Requested Detective Montford and CSI Kane respond to that interview room to get his information and to take his clothing and to get pictures of him, and if he would allow a buccal swab of his mouth, photographs, and to clip his fingernails.
David was cooperative and did whatever they asked. And did investigators find any bruises or scratches on his body?
Mr. Tronnes did not have any defensive wounds on his body or hands or anything to indicate that he was in a fight.
While that was going on, Detective Sprague asked the medical examiner to come to the scene. And not only did she see the bruising the officer had observed, she noticed something else on Shanti's body.
I noted on her neck abrasions and red marks that it would be significant with strangulation.
To confirm, the medical examiner opened Shanti's eyes. She had red marks inside the whites, which was a clear sign that the detective was right. There was no doubt Shanti Tronnes had been murdered.
The official cause of death was blunt force trauma and strangulation.
Investigators now knew how she died, but weren't sure who would want to hurt her. Everyone seemed to love Shanti. She owned a successful financial consulting business and was a mother to an 8-year-old son from a previous marriage. Detectives had no choice but to start with her husband, David, since he was the one who found her.
We know who she was with at the time she was found deceased, but not who was with her at the time of her death.
In the interview room, David said he last saw Shanti alive around 9 a.m. He said she told him she was going upstairs to make some calls for work, so he went to the park with the dogs.
When he arrived back home, he continued on with some yard work and cleaned up around the house, but never saw Shanti.
Around 3:45, he started to wonder where she was, since it was time to pick her son up from school.
I went upstairs. I don't hear her talking on the phone, so I say hello. I don't hear anything back. I can hear water running. She's not saying anything. Doesn't seem right.
David said he then walked into the bathroom, and that's when he discovered her.
I see her laying with her head in the right-hand corner. The water is running, and it's just extremely awful.
He assumed Shanti was about to take a shower and fell. He said he never could have imagined someone had murdered her, and he insisted that someone was not him.
Police asked about their marriage, and Mr. Tronnes said that their marriage was fine.
The couple had been together 5 years and married for 1. David told police he had given her a massive engagement ring, which he never took off. He said they were very much in love, but her first marriage was a different story.
Shanti had a lot of issues with her ex-husband while they were married.
And just as detectives were learning about Shanti's prior relationship, her ex-husband Jim Cooper suddenly showed up at the crime scene.
My immediate response to his interview was, he's still a suspect. I mean, he's not cleared.
As detectives were interviewing Shanti's current husband, David Tronnes, her ex-husband appeared at her home asking questions.
I got a phone call from my sergeant, and he advised that Shanti's ex-husband, Jim Cooper, had shown up at the house with her son, Jackson.
Jim said he was trying to figure out why he had been called to pick up their son at school. He was asked to come downtown to answer some questions.
Right out of the gate, obviously he's visibly upset and he's angry, but we were attempting to find out where he was the last 24 hours, and it was difficult to get him to answer these questions.
Investigators then started asking him about the divorce, which they had learned was contentious.
She wasn't happy in the marriage. She wasn't happy with Jim, and he had discovered that she'd had an affair.
Jim wanted to give the marriage another chance, but Shanti was done. And did he admit to making the divorce difficult because he was angry?
He absolutely made the divorce difficult on her because he didn't want the divorce. I think he was very angry about the broken trust. He was very angry that he was losing his family.
The anger was still apparent as detectives spoke with him. He finally gave them an alibi, saying that he was at work all day.
My immediate response to his interview was, he's still a suspect. I mean, he's not cleared. Based on how he described the end of their marriage, as well as the contentious relationship between the two of them while raising their son, he was absolutely still a possibility.
Investigators knew they needed to verify his alibi. They went to Jim's workplace and spoke with his coworkers and ultimately confirmed that he was telling the truth.
At that point, Jim was eliminated as a suspect since his alibi was corroborated by coworkers.
Back at the crime scene, police noticed that Shanti's engagement ring, which David mentioned to detectives, was nowhere to be found. With the couple's home under renovation and contractors in and out of the property, investigators wondered if robbery was a motive.
When you get upstairs, you see a multitude of electronics, expensive electronics. Her purse is right by the television. It's open. Next to her purse is a $20 bill on the television stand that is in plain view. None of the easy things that would have been targets were removed.
And there was more at the crime scene that just wasn't adding up. David said that he found Shanti in the bathtub and pulled her out to start CPR, but it didn't seem to match up with the evidence.
And the bathroom floor wasn't wet. The bathtub had dried, diluted blood up to a blood stain about 3/4 of the way full, but the shower walls weren't wet. The tub wasn't wet. The rug had been pushed up away from the tub toward the wall, but nothing was wet between the shower, the tub, the floor, the carpet, all the way to where she was.
Nothing made sense. And once again, investigators were forced to turn their attention back to David Tronnes.
One of Shanti's friends had expressed to us that there was trouble in the marriage.
Detectives wanted to know everything they could about the relationship between David and Shanti. What they learned was that things weren't as great as David had made them sound.
One of Shanti's friends, Dana, had expressed to us that there was trouble in the marriage, that they had broken up at one point prior to moving into this home.
The couple reunited, and David bought the home in cash, putting the house in a trust for him and his mother.
He told Shanti, "This is just what my family has always done. And it's just a way to protect everything and protect all of us."
But Shanti wasn't happy with that answer, especially after they moved in, and David asked her to foot the bill for all the renovations.
David's handling of the renovation of their home turned out to be a disaster, hiring and firing contractors, all the while Shanti was paying for all of the renovations and incomplete work.
3 years after the project began, David, Shanti, and her son were still living in the garage apartment. She had spent $300,000 on renovations, and her name still wasn't on the deed to the home.
She had indicated many times she wanted her name on this house because she had a financial stake, a significant financial stake.
Friends told police that David had assured Shanti that he was taking care of everything. He became obsessed with a reality TV show called Zombie House Flipping and applied to be on the show. He was cast, but Shanti wanted no part of it, and tension between the couple grew.
Police interviewed Shanti's son and learned that the couple had been in arguments on a regular basis, and they were heated arguments.
So was stress from a home renovation project a motive for murder? Investigators decided to turn up the heat during their interview with David.
You know, you fake cried for about 7 or 8 hours today. Not one tear came out of your eyes, not one. Not one. Not on scene with the officers, not in this room. There's not a lick of remorse for what you did to this woman. Not even a little bit, okay? I'm really starting to believe you wanted her dead, and I'm really starting to believe you planned it.
But David wouldn't admit to anything.
Mr. Tronnes did not confess to murdering his wife, did not confess to harming her in any way, and stated repeatedly that he would never hurt her.
With no physical evidence tying him to Shanti's murder, investigators were forced to let David go free. As they continued digging for clues, Shanti's cell phone records provided some eye-opening information.
The cell phone forensics show us that phone is searching Facebook around 11:20 to 11:30 on Monday night, and then it's placed down on that nightstand. And that phone does not move until it's collected by police Tuesday night around 10:30.
David had told police he last saw Shanti Tuesday morning when she went to make work phone calls. But investigators now knew that her phone had never been used that morning.
On Tuesday morning at 6:58 in the morning, Shanti's cell phone gets a text message. That text message was never read, and it was from a business associate in North Carolina. I asked him, "When did you expect her to read that text?" And he said 7 o'clock. He said, "She is so prompt. Within 2 minutes, I thought it was odd." He said, "Within the hour, I thought something had happened to her."
Investigators were convinced that Shanti had been murdered on Monday night and that David was the one responsible.
The whole time frame that we believe when she was killed, he had already told us he was with her, and he was the only one with her.
But they still didn't understand why he would do it. And then they got a call that gave them that shocking answer.
Police received a tip that David had a membership to Club Orlando and might have been living a double life.
Club Orlando was a gay male gym in the area, and police learned David had been a member for 18 months.
He had been to the club as recently as the week before Shanti's murder, and the employee had indicated that he had seen sexual activity between David and men on at least 2 occasions inside the club.
Police wondered if Shanti had found out about his secret lifestyle and asked for a divorce. Detectives discovered there was a big financial aspect to that question. So what did David stand to gain from Shanti's death?
Over $1 million. With all of the combined accounts and the life insurance policy, it was over $1 million, and it might have been closer to $1.5 million with all of the interest that had accrued.
Investigators believed David realized that Shanti was more valuable to him dead than alive.
Is there a financial motive? Yes. If he were to get away with Shanti's murder, he's a millionaire. He still doesn't have to work, and he hadn't worked in 8 years. And he can fully renovate the home the way he wants and live the lifestyle he wants and probably never work again.
4 months after Shanti's murder, David Tronnes was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. And investigators were about to make another big discovery.
It was the smoking gun. It was an exciting moment because I felt like we had him.
With David Tronnes in jail awaiting trial, detectives continued to dig for anything else that would tie him to Shanti's murder. So you searched his mother's home. What did you find there?
The most shocking thing, or the thing we hoped that we would find in a suitcase on the floor in the room where David was living, was Shanti's engagement ring.
It was the item David had mentioned Shanti never took off her finger, and he felt police could never find it.
It was the smoking gun. It was an exciting moment because I felt like we had him. I felt like it was the biggest lie that he had probably indicated to us, was not knowing where that ring was and when he knew we were looking for it.
At trial, David still claimed his innocence, but a jury wasn't buying it.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
David Tronnes was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Shanti's son Jackson gave a victim impact statement saying that his mom was the best person he ever knew.
My mom was the best person I ever knew. She worked a lot, but she never put her family over work.
And now, it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. Finances are often a source of tension in any marriage, but there are steps you can take to help protect yourself. A professional can help couples navigate the complexities of balancing your financial life. If your intuition tells you something is off with your spouse or spending patterns change, consider having separate savings and checking accounts from your spouse. By doing so, it could help you have the financial freedom to leave the marriage if necessary. If your relationship becomes contentious, or if you're ending the marriage, remove your spouse as a beneficiary on your life insurance and make them aware you have done so. This may help reduce any financial motive for violence. Intimate relationships must be built on trust, and if that trust is broken through lies, misrepresentation, or undisclosed financial moves, it may be time to leave the marriage to prevent something more sinister. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.